Thank you very much, Matlingi. Some of you, in saying who you are, you talk so quickly and you swallow your syllables that I don't pick them all up. But let me refer to some of the issues that some of you have raised. Situmo says, I encourage, you want me to bang tables and kick people in their behinds and knock their heads in tables or walls and all that. It's nomenclature. You can be dramatic, but you need to make sure that the message gets through, to get people to react in the way that they should. Demand, insist, and encourage. In my view, it's actually saying, we want you must do the work. What is often pleasing with in the media is that people are fired. Fire so and so because they forgot to water their plant, or they forgot to do this, or they didn't do that. There are a variety of ways of articulating issues and managing people and leading with people and getting things done. So different takes for different strokes for different people. And I have a team of colleagues that I work with who are doing work, continue to do work, and I'm pleased with the way that work is being done in government, because we're dealing with a different set of problems and challenges, and I'll enumerate a little bit on some of those. And you talk about veterans, who you talk to, maybe on the quiet, and you say, some of them say things that they don't want to say in public. They also decampaign the ANC and even say, we wish the ANC could lose so that it can come back in a much stronger way. Well, I haven't heard that. But in the end, it's not according to their wishes or whoever. It is the people of South Africa who are going to decide. They are the final arbiter. They are the ones who, in next year's election, will make that choice, who will be able to say, we have confidence and belief in this political organization and this leader, and we want that party and that leader to take us forward. So that is the confidence that I have, and it's got to be left to those people. And it comes down to what you also said, maybe before I get to Tsidi, or maybe get to Tsidi. I'm glad to hear that you do report on good news, and there's a lot of good news that needs to be reported. But similarly, where there are missteps, we say, yes, they should be reported, because that is your job as journalists. That is your craft. You should be able to do that. And we are glad. I'm eternally glad that we live in a country where the media, the journalists, have the freedom to be able to report, to write, to speak out. It does not happen in other regimes, in other locales. It doesn't happen. You criticize, you're in jail. Here, we will make sure that those doors of jail are closed so that you never get there, because you must be able to articulate as a journalist what you need to. But what I often say, Tsidi, let us also find balance. And find balance. What we've often seen is what you say you do tell good stories. We don't often see them. But there are good stories that need to be told. the story that this government feeds every day for 5 days of a week 9 million children. And in many cases, 2 meals a day. It's a story that does not sort of happen in many other countries. And that is a good story to tell. And of course, as part of that, you could then raise that, okay, in other cases, there were mishaps, that it did not work as well as it did. We wrote about it with a view of correcting it, of making sure that it happens properly, and that they heed what needs to happen properly. So I'd like to hear more of those good type of stories, Tsidi. You mentioned the polls. There's a new industry that has emerged in our country now. It's a new industry and it's always the ANC is going down. The ANC is going to be less than 30%. And it's almost reported with glee that, we've got them now. They're going to go down. Everybody, is now forming a poll group. They go around the country. One sees these polls. Polls have sometimes been completely off the mark. And I go on one poll of feeling the pulse of our people. That's the poll that I go with. When I go into a township, into an area, I actually tell my comrades that I even want to go to places where people may not even want to see me. I'll go there and engage with them, because that for me is feeling that pulse of our people, so that they even have an opportunity to articulate their views, their anger. The more they are angry, the more I want to go to engage them, because that to me is feeling their pulse. So one notes these polls, and you also raised, who raised it? I think my brother from Sunday Times, the rating, president's rating has gone down. I mean, these things happen, and it depends on who is looking at it. And I think for me it's important to engage with people directly and be able to have a sense of what are the shortcomings of government and the shortcomings of what they expect from their leaders. And that is where that's the gauge I use. That's the rating I used of touching the pulse of our people in that way. Kumalo from Newsroom. Some veterans are not buying the renewal project, and we've got former President Jacob Zuma who's going to make an announcement. And he has over time been making a number of announcements. So tomorrow he'll make another announcement. We will note that. We note that. And what else can I do? There's nothing else I can do but to note. Similarly, the former president, who you say says is not going to see himself campaigning, I think in the end we're making a big issue out of this, much larger than what it should be. In the end, as members of the ANC, we would like everyone to be in the field to campaign, but if you are not able to campaign, that's it. The work goes on, and we will continue doing the work. And I have said very, very vocally and openly, I am going to be in the campaign. I'm going to be in every street, in every village. That is what I am going to do. And obviously we would like as many as possible. Were you the one, or was it Tsidi, who was saying that it seems like the ANC is hard-pressed, or somebody else said that? Yeah, it was you. It seems like we're hard-pressed to try and convince people about what we've done. No, my dear sister. This is 30 years. We're looking at a 30-year review. Any organization would like to look at what have we done over the 30-year period. What is it we've done? And please don't tire with our articulation of this. We are going to be looking at everything that has happened over the 30-year period. In fact, when it comes to that, we were also led and nudged in that direction by Stats SA. Because Stats SA has also looked at 30 years. So we are not going to ignore looking at where South Africa was 30 years ago. This is the anniversary. And in case you think that we are like trying to stretch and what did you say, we're desperate. We are not desperate. We are looking at how we've performed over 30 years, but we are also looking at, against the challenges that are faced by many countries around the world, what is it that we have done to show up our people, to support our people during these challenges? And it's not desperation, it's trying to state the reality, where we say, when COVID hit, we lost more than 2 million jobs. And by and large, those 2 million jobs have been recreated. And I've been asking my people to do an analysis, which jobs are regained and which jobs are new. And for the first time in our country, we've been able to have a job regaining creation number which has come up to 2 million. For the first time. Quite often it's just been 350 a year, 500 a year, and so forth. But now we've really ramped up. And it is something that we should talk about. It's not being desperate. It is stating fact and reality. And I don't think it's fair to reduce it to saying, oh, you are so desperate. You are being hard-pressed to say what you have achieved. Of course, we must also be proud to have made many advances in 30 years. I'm not going to sit by and say, no, we haven't done anything in 30 years. In 30 years, we've given up to 93% of South Africans electricity. And when I travel around the continent, I see how electricity has not penetrated in a number of countries. I smile with pride and I say, hey, what? We have achieved. As I fly at night over our continent and I look and see big cities not being well lit, and I fly over Johannesburg, Tshwane, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, and I see lights, and I say, that means that we've spread a basic need like electricity. And that is one of the successes that we must talk about and that I am going to talk about. When I go to that village near Jozini Dam, where we put up this huge dam, and it was put up just for white farmers for decades, and black people went to the river to draw water. But when I get there and I see Ubaba Mvelase, and I literally go and test the tap, and I say, it's got water. And I say, when did this happen? He tells me, that is success. That is success that I will talk about, that we must talk about, because that has changed the lives of the people. When I see ECD centers being spread around the country, where early childhood development is a new direct focus of this government, I will talk about it. That in 1994, we just had little creches, not even all over. We now have ECD centers. We're training the teachers. We are training those people so that the young people must get an education as we go up. So those are some of the successes that we must talk about. When I see the HIV levels coming down and more people getting antiretrovirals, I'll talk about it because that's a success. When I see that our life expectancy has also been rising over years. I'll talk about it because that is success. So when I see more and more South Africans being banked, having bank accounts, so that when we pay the 350, we paid to 11 million people, all at one go like that, which many countries cannot be boastful of. It fills me with joy that we are making progress. Making progress. In some areas, there will be reversals. So, Tidi, it's not being desperate. It's being practical and being factual, because that is the progress that we have made. Now, or whatever, or the names of those who were listed by Zondo, that is a matter that is being processed by the ANC. That is being processed. There are going to be disciplinary processes that will ensue, and I'd like to say let's allow that process to go on. This is now the internal renewal process in the ANC that is going to address all these issues. Mzwai, you also asked a question. Some leaders feel they don't. Saying wrongly. Oh, no. No, I see that. The space is open. It's wide open for leaders to talk to various leaders in the ANC, including myself, including the top 7, including people who are in the NWC. Sometimes people will say, no, we have not been able to talk to this one or that one. Sometimes it's a timetable thing. I was supposed to see the General Secretary of the Communist Party for the last week. We have not been able to connect. So I'm open. I saw the leadership of COSATU, saw the leadership of the veterans, and we continue to do that. So there is just that continuous level of engagement and cooperation. The next question was, we seem to act like an interest group. For instance, you cite the question, Ramaphosa says he wants gender-based violence to end. So from that point of view, we act like an interest group. And of course, we are spreading the message. I mean, one says all that. Of course, I will say I want gender-based violence to end because I want more and more leaders to talk about gender-based violence. All of us must be able to say, we want gender-based violence to end. And we also, and this is where I would like you to talk more positively about, for instance, the men's dialogues. We're having lots of men's dialogues, and where we're getting men to talk about gender-based violence. And we're taking action to ensure that gender-based violence becomes a topical issue. More and more leaders must talk about it. And we want men to meet amongst themselves and talk about, talk against gender-based violence, raping women, and all that. Is there any other way I can say it? Yes. Am I taking action to bring gender-based violence to end? Yes, because we've passed laws, we've budgeted money, we've embraced the National Strategic Plan, we're setting up the various structures. That is what we're doing practically. What else are we doing? We're going out there engaging people, communities, and men about gender-based violence. So all these things we are engaging on. And even as you look at a number of the questions that you pose, progress is being made, my compatriots. We are making progress on a number of fronts. Are we doing enough? Of course, we want to do more and more. And some of these things we're doing against the backdrop of the challenges that we have faced. And we are brave enough to say we will address those challenges. COVID was a major one. The unrest was another one. The floods was another one that set us back. We are addressing them. Load shedding, we are addressing. Logistics, we are addressing. And working with business and working with various stakeholders. And all those matters are being addressed. Are they being addressed quickly and fast enough? Sometimes, yes, quickly, sometimes there are delays. We had a meeting recently with the Black Business Council, and we're setting up work streams where we are going to work together to address some of the challenges that they raised. We've met with big business and we've set up working streams, and many of the things that we've decided to work on are being done, some slowly and some fast enough. So that's how the whole process evolves. And I'm glad that progress is being made. I want to end by saying initially we thought we would have this social compact, a comprehensive compact. What it has evolved now is to say what is more practical, as I've said before, is to have these compacts which will in the end mutate into a much bigger comprehensive compact. And maybe we were a bit too early in our iteration of that, but right now the engagement between business and government and labor is a much more fruitful one. It is yielding much better results than the initial thought we had that we would just have a compact, and we would have glossed over a number of important issues. Now we've crunched down, we're dealing with the real issues that need to be addressed. So take heart, things are happening. We're moving forward. We're addressing the challenges and we're addressing the problems. And we are not the only country that is going through challenges. There are many others, but we are doing the best we can. Thank you very much.